Hey, everybody, and welcome to Ask Dr. Testosterone, starring Dr. George Tsoulianos, and brought to you by his new book, The Bible of Bodybuilding 2, the new updated, revised edition with much more new material, all about training, nutrition, supplementation, PEDs, everything you need to know to get your best physique possible. And, of course, now joining us is the man who has a feature in the new Muscular Development magazine. Check that out. This is Dr. George Tsoulianos from Athens, Greece. Look at that, George. Wow. So that's one page. Yeah, this was your Per Bernal shoot. Per Bernal he's one of, if not the greatest physique photographers that's ever lived, as far as I'm concerned. And look at that. Look at those arms. A lot of arm shots. Even more. Yeah.
7 pages. I'm very grateful to Steve Blackman. And of course, you did a great job with the story.
And the final picture, nice and dressed up in a beautiful suit.
Yeah. And Per, of course, is great. We had a good chemistry, and he's an artist. And also a tiny picture of mine in the cover, be like Derek Langsford. Eh?
Yeah, we call that an inset.
Yes.
It's not bad. Usually it's usually it's some supplement company or something. Well, actually, there is a supplement in the corner there, but yeah, that's awesome, man. But we had to give Derek. We had to give Derek. Derek's a future Mr. Olympia. We had to. That's the first time we've ever had a front relax pose as the cover.
Yeah, by far the best V-taper in the last Olympia.
He looked phenomenal.
And the best glutes and sculpt back, you know, by far from all.
Yeah, he beat Heidi in the back shots as far as I was concerned.
Of course. Yeah, and the V-taper also.
So
I have to give you credit for the exclusive Aaron Singerman interview.
Yeah.
You know, and I like the fact you ask things, not just from a legal perspective or the supplement industry, but also some casual things about how was life in jail, and things that are really, progressive and many people are interested in.
Yeah, and because it's a lot of us see movies about jail and TV shows, but I asked him, I said, I bet you can never really know what it's like or understand unless you've been there, real life. And he has, and it's, he wasn't in a very scary maximum security place with a bunch of murderers and rapists around him all the time. He was in the beginning in the county jails, but still it was cool because this is a guy who's worth many millions of dollars, but in there, it didn't matter. He's just another inmate locked up in a cage like everybody else. So very humbling experience. I think it changed him. It really did.
I think I have to tell you that last year I received 2 post-mail letters, envelopes from 2 people in prison in the States, one from Hawaii, another from Texas, because MD is supplied in the prisons.
Yeah. And
perhaps, I don't know if they have cell phones and watch our shows. And they wanted me some details about how to get rid of the jail because of how to get testosterone in the jail because of the low testosterone. And I think this is something that also Rick Collins has to do about,
Yeah.
So interesting how muscular development is spread throughout this society also.
What's funny is we used to have the swimsuit girls, we had a section in the middle called Major Distraction. It was all women in bikinis and this and that. When we had that, they wouldn't let the magazine be in the prisons because it was considered pornography or sexually suggestive material. Now that we have kind of stopped having that feature, MD's back in the prisons again. So the guys.
Why? I mean, they're afraid of.
I don't know. Why would you be afraid of that? I mean, what else you got to do in there? It's either your hand or another dude, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, MD. But that's crazy. So they forwarded the mail to you. But it's interesting. That's a whole other thing for Rick Collins to talk about. Maybe we'll get him on there someday. But because if you're a man and you want to transition into a woman and you're in prison, legally they have to give you testosterone, and they do. But if you're a man with little T, good luck.
Exactly. The Society of the Transgender is an ally out of nowhere because they get their testosterone while bodybuilders cannot get our testosterone. But basically both kind of fellas have the same kind of issue, it's a self-perception and has to do with muscle dysmorphia and gender dysphoria.
Yeah, but let's create transgender rights have become so powerful in the US. You can't, if you try to go against.
Especially in the West Coast, things are way more liberal,
Yeah, for sure. But that's the US. Transgender rights have, I think everybody should have rights and everything. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. It's just It's crazy how things have changed just in the last.
But I think they're not treated equally, bodybuilders and transgender people.
Oh, no.
Even though they have the same kind of trouble in their minds about the way they look.
Right. Yeah, but it's considered, they're considered very differently by the
toxic masculinity. This is a problem.
Yeah. Why has it got to be toxic? You can't just say masculinity anymore. It's toxic masculinity. But, we need masculinity in this world. Who's fighting the wars? Who's building the cities?
Only the strong will survive,
100%. All right. I want to start off this week with a training question before we get into all your drugs, guys, because we like to talk about training, George and I. We've been training for many, many years. So first one, the eternal training question, volume versus intensity, which is better? Keep in mind, for most of us, more volume means less weight, but more reps. Intensity, higher weight. Oh, intensity means higher weight, fewer reps. The total weight times reps in both cases is the same. Does the answer differ for natural versus enhanced, for size versus strength? Ooh, this is basically a lot of stuff to cover, but let's be as quick as we can.
Yeah, but listen, the classic high intensity was the Dorian. So Dorian did 1 set per exercises. However, you can do a wide variety of exercises, just 1 set. So pick up, let's say 10, 12 exercises in order to hit the chest, but super high intensity. So if you want to choose now 12 sets out of 3 exercises or 4 exercises, just do 3 or 4 sets. It's the same volume. The point is how hard you hit the muscle. Now, the other thing, the high volume, moderate intensity, we have to know that intensity is the result of 3 parameters. How heavy you lift, how slow you lift, the time under tension. So how long is the muscle stressed? How many seconds? Yeah. And number 3, how long is the muscle resting? So the shorter the rest intervals and the longer time you lift something like very slow, you give in a seminar, very slow eccentric, explosive concentric. Yeah. These are 2 parameters. Now, the heavier you lift, the longer the breaks you have to take, and the less slow the execution has to be performed, And when we do moderate weights, because we starve on the diet or because we have fragile joints, then we have to use moderate weights for higher reps, but very slow, taking also resting time of 30 seconds. So it's a variable,
Have you seen studies that said you get the same muscle size, hypertrophy results from using like 80%, 85% intensity, where you could still do a few more reps?
Brad Sunfield says that this guy who writes also in MD, and he just go by science, and not that much by
real life practical application,
by practice or by experience. He says that we don't need to go to failure, but as we get more progressive and advanced, we need to hit the failure. All right. So reaching your genetic potential in exercise, then there comes a time when in order to break your plateau, you have to go 100%. Now, Jay Cutler used to say that leave 1 rep in the tank.
Yeah.
Don't go 100% because you overstimulate the CNS and your spinal cord, and then you get exhausted.
Right.
So stimulate, as Lee Haney said, not annihilate, and stimulate the muscle system, which is the muscles, okay, by going 80%. Yeah. Besides, you may go with moderate weights as long as you produce lactic acid, okay? Because lactic acid is produced after 30 seconds. That means very slow 12 reps to 15 reps. Yeah. So you don't, by doing 8 reps or 6, you don't produce lactic acid. And we have to know that lactic acid stimulates testosterone growth in native people. Yeah. And it's a way to increase your endogenous testosterone by taking creatine, increasing your intensity and your lactic acid. And this burning sensation elevates testosterone.
So the last point you just sort of touched on is natural versus enhanced. So I think, there's this idea that if you're using higher volume approach, that's when anabolics would help you with the recovery process. But
exactly.
But if you're doing high intensity, it's less volume, but it's so intense and it's such an attack on your CNS. Yeah. I think that's also very, very damaging and something that would.
Yeah, this is nerve-wracking. And frankly speaking now, an enhanced guy is doing a different sport than an added individual. Yeah. Okay, supplements versus drugs, okay? We have the food, both of them. Yeah. So when I was doing my off-season preparation for 2010, I was 36 years old. I tried the German volume train, 10 reps.
10 sets of 10. Wow. Yeah.
10 sets of 10. Man, even though I was taking a lot of stuff, 4 injectables and another 4 pills, I guess.
Yeah.
My strength increased, but I was so fatigued, I couldn't train the same thing every day. I had to do it every other day, perhaps. My bones were so sore, my muscles, and it was horrible. It was really painful. I was not using GH back then on a regular basis, but you cannot stand this without gear.
Yeah, 10 sets per exercise. Imagine if you're doing back and you did that, it'd be like 6. Imagine if you're doing 10 sets of each exercise for back and you did like 5 or 6 exercises. It's gonna be like 50 or 60 sets just for back.
Yeah, but do not change the weight, but do even in the last set 10 reps of the same weight,
Yeah. No, I remember doing that with just squats. Like back when 225 was very, very light for me, I would do 225, rest 30 seconds for 10, 10, 10. And by the 8th, 9th, my God, those 10 reps are very hard to get. Very hard to get. Okay, let's get to some drug questions, guys. I know you guys need to know. Here we go. 150 milligrams of testosterone plus 50 milligrams of DECA for continuous use. Does it cause cardiac alteration? Thinking of a patient with a good lipid profile. That was one question. 2, do you think it would be possible?
Yeah, I think so. This will create issues in the long run. Of course, the lipid profile will change, but also red blood cells will kick. And also, there is some reference that in the long run, DECA can create neurodegeneration, even though it's low androgenic. So also the homocysteine perhaps will elevate, and perhaps in a few years, you're going to develop a calcium score. Who knows?
Wow, only on 150 mgs of test and 50
Well,
mgs
for years,
yeah,
I bet so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Second question from the same gentleman. Do you think it is possible to return to fertility even on TRT with DECA? If yes, how? Would 1,000 IU a week be enough? I'm not sure what he means. He's talking about HCG. Use clomiphene along with testosterone. Some doctors say 500 IU a day in and day out. He must mean HCG. Plus clomiphene along with having it has chances of getting pregnant in the long term.
Yeah, the best protocol is to use smaller doses of HCG on a regular basis. Not that much, because 500 every day is 3,500 per week, which is a lot. It's like doing a PCT. So let's say 1,000 per week. Clomiphene creates trouble in the SHBG. It elevates. In this way, it lowers your free testosterone, your sex drive. Besides, also it causes you problem with your vision and in your mood. And the clomiphene could be a part of a PCT, but not along with testosterone. So doing HCG with testosterone along with HMG, it's a good thing. And preferably take off the DECA, just use testosterone is enough. Because the more steroids you throw into the cycle, the more the suppression to the lady and Sertoli says, and DECA is a very long-acting drug, up to 1.5 years. So the suppression is extensive.
Yeah, that's crazy how long DECA metabolites stay in the human body.
That is a worse drug to take if you have a doping test.
Yeah, these guys get popped like a year later or over a year later. That's insane. Okay, next one is, I am on TRT with finasteride due to benign prostate enlargement. As Dr. Tuliados has stated, blocking DHT conversion has resulted in elevated estrogen. My urologist has suggested an aromatase inhibitor. What happens to testosterone when DHT conversion and aromatization are both blocked? Higher free test or other side effects?
No, actually, when we block DHT, first of all, DHT is anti-estrogenic, so estrogens will increase. And also because we cut off the one metabolite, the other will elevate. So cutting off DHT will make it to elevate. And also cutting off DHT means that we have less anti-estrogenic, therefore we're going to increase the estrogens. But when we cut off DHT, as a result, the SHBG will elevate, and as a result, free testosterone will lower. So when we use finasteride and dutasteride, it has an impact on the sex drive because we lower free testosterone. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, is that one of those finasteride syndrome things people complain about the most?
Well, John Chrysler, the late John Chrysler said that the problem arises when we stop the finasteride. But to people that are not using testosterone. There are people who want hair growth and just use Fina or Duta by themselves, and this is catastrophic.
Oof.
Now, when you join testosterone, it's not a problem because you still have the benefits of the sex drive and of testosterone, but you just cut a portion of the DHT. So it's less harmful to the HPDA and to the sex drive and to the self-esteem and whatever that is, when you use a little bit of testosterone plus those agents and you grow thicker hair, okay?
Yeah. Look at that hair, jeez. You get a lot of compliments on your hair, George, let me tell you. Rightfully so, beautiful head of hair. Next one is, I'm 28 years old currently on TRT. Could I use gonadorelin along with the rest of my TRT regimen, which is 250 milligrams testosterone, 100 milligrams DECA, 750 IUs HCG, all of them per week for a libido boost? He wants to use gonadorelin for a libido boost. I've been on TRT for 2 years now, and since FSH, LH went to 0, I've been facing a libido decrease and, most importantly, ED issues, even though my labs are on point. FT, TT, PRL, E2, SHBG, etc. Wow, this is a rough spot to be in at 20 years.
This guy has to understand that when we use exogenous testosterone, the LH and the FSH go down because this is a physiological thing, I mean, a normal thing. They shut off. He doesn't have to be worried about this. And the lack of sex drive is not due to this. Everybody shuts off when he goes on gear or on TRT. But the point is to have your gonadal total and free testosterone levels, low SHBG, optimize and moderate estradiol, low prolactin. All right, these are the parameters of the sex drive. Now, this guy uses a lot of things. So a good libido enhancer would be, apart from testosterone, HCG, but also proviron, which is mesterolone.
Okay.
All right, these are the compounds that give you extra sex drive by increasing intratesticular testosterone, but also free testosterone, the one that works.
Yeah, we're talking about having an HRT, TRT specialist on soon, but man, this is to be on TRT at 26 years old as he has been. That's rough.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, he has to understand that this guy had also a case at the office. Young people need to understand that this is not a trendy thing because you have to carry this cross for the rest of your life. Injecting, taking also HCG, it's another injection. And this is for life. You cannot just stop it because you're bored or tired of it, or because you have lack of money, or because you are sick. Your batteries will go down within a month, and you're gonna feel lousy and crappy again, and your stomach will grow. Okay, you're gonna look like bullshit. So this is a responsible decision just because you need it. It's a lifetime medication, not a fancy thing to do.
But like a lot of younger people are using that term TRT when they're on cycles too. They just
those people have decided, but no matter what, I'm gonna be plugged with testosterone for the rest of my life, because one day I may end up doing cycles and then testosterone, but goodbye natural testosterone. They have already know that,
It's, my son is 23 years old, and he's talked about it. We've talked, but he never wants to do it. And I encourage him to stay natural, because I said, you're not going to do one cycle, because they says, people say, I just want to try it. I said, you're going to try it and you're not going to stop. You're never going to stop.
Once you try it and you love it, you say, why not once more next year? Next year then. Like the junkies, like the dope. And if you don't have a good reason, like Dorian said, to compete, or if you are a doorman, if you are a bodyguard, if you are a dancer, if you're a professional athlete out of the USADA and WADA, okay, do it if you earn money out of this, your profession. But just because you want to become a gym rat,
I mean, November 1996, I said I started my only cycle. I was going to do one cycle. Here we are. This is 2023. So no.
And hopefully now you're going back to replacement therapy from legitimate sources, goodbye underground stuff.
Yes, finally.
You know what you're taking, and this is something very responsible of yours. And it's the turning point now in your life.
Yeah, it's a necessary transition. It's going to be challenging.
It's about time. You're over 50.
I am. I'm not getting any younger. All right. Question for the next episode. Hi, Ron. Hi, Doc. Do you know of any dopamine and serotonin agonists with less to no side effects? How about natural supplements that can increase dopamine, serotonin, and lower prolactin? I know you recommend cabergoline, but caber is very dangerous for the heart because it can damage your valves. Is pramipexole a better choice than caber? How about side effects from that? Thank you.
Well, the only dopamine booster that I know is the 5-hydroxytryptophan that metabolizes also to serotonin and improves your mood.
5-HTP, yeah.
5-HTP, yeah, improves the serotonin and also helps you sleep and also improves your mood because serotonin is a joy hormone. And also the dopamine also elevates when you have the feeling of your work, it usually goes up with dopamine as well.
Yeah.
With serotonin, I'm sorry. But I never tried any other compound. People say that B6 vitamin, pyridoxine can lower prolactin. But as a doctor, I count only medications. Apart now from Dostinex, which is cabergoline, you can try bromocriptine, which is Palladel. But I'm not sure about those side effects. If there is existing those side effects about the valves, then people wouldn't touch it and those wouldn't prescribe it. And even though I'm using Dostinex for a couple of years, even before, I never had something serious in my valves, besides a little bit of regurgitation of the mitral valve, but nothing serious, Now, prolactin elevates under stress, under insomnia, under also SSRIs, under hypothyroidism, and perhaps marijuana consumption. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Question is, doctor, I have trouble with high estrogen on TRT with no estrogen management at 120 milligrams a week of test SIP. My sensitive estradiol was 137 PG per ml. At 60 milligrams a week, my estradiol is good at 35 PG over ml. However, my total T is only 530 nanograms per deciliter. To get my total test to the upper end of the range, I'm going to have to use something to control estrogen. Would a small amount of Arimidex long-term be unhealthy? I dose my test Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If taking 1/4 Arimidex with each shot, I think I could get away with 200 milligrams testosterone per week. Should I take the Arimidex at the same time as my shot? If you have any other suggestions about estrogen management, I'd love to hear. I tried Aromacin in the past, but it didn't seem as effective as Arimidex. What about Proviron? That's a lot of stuff.
Well, aromatase inhibitor are better than the DHT. And personally, I'm using all the way 1 milligram of anastrozole per week. It's enough to control my estrogens. Now, it's better to use twice a week the anastrozole, cut it in half, and moderate also your testosterone replacement therapy to even more frequent in order to minimize the spiking on estradiol. So let's say every other day, rather than 3 times a week. In this way, you're going to use less testosterone and create less aromatization. But it's no problem using a low dose of an aromatase inhibitor. The problem comes when you abuse them aromatase inhibitors. And also it matters how much is your free testosterone, because you may have a total testosterone of 500, but if your SHBG is high, then your free testosterone could be below 50%. So then you are in trouble. So you need to implement also the DHT in order to suppress the SHBG and liberate more of the free testosterone.
So that's where the Proviron usually comes in handy, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next one. I'm 50 years old, 5'8" tall, and weigh 72 kilograms. Small bones with 10% body fat. Working out for 30 years. I'm on 50 milligrams testosterone twice per week. I got a cycle from Dr. T a year ago. I wonder who this is. My question is, how often can I do a cycle? I'm in good health conditions and don't do more than 4 weeks cycle. Thanks.
Well, I don't remember. I can't recall what this guy is this and what kind of cycle that I recommended him. But usually the only thing that I'm telling those people from Greece is just use the 3 drugs we have in the pharmacy store at the lowest dose. So 1 ml of each, testosterone, DECA, and perhaps 50 milligrams of Proviron a day. That's all I'm recommending. As long as your labs are fine, and don't do it this or more than 8 weeks. This is a safe approach to do. So I need more details, you know.
Yeah. I'll try. I wonder who this is. Now I got to go back and I'll find out for you later. But I should have copied it down because I didn't realize it was supposedly a patient. Here's a good question. Is it necessary to use insulin if you're using growth hormone?
No, if you use low dose of growth hormone, if you use food, it's fine. There's no a lot of carbs and especially simple carbohydrates. If your A1C is below, it's close to 5%. And actually, when in the long run, low dose of GH lowers insulin resistance because you burn your visceral fat that is also linked to insulin resistance. The problem comes if you use a moderate dose of GH and you eat a lot of carbs, then you have the problem of hyperglycemia.
Gotcha. Okay. And our final question, nandrolone again comes up. Does nandrolone, aka DECA, impact mood and cause jealousy and anxiety in someone predisposed to anxiety? I have manic depressive disorder, which I think that's the same as bipolar. What we don't even use that phrase anymore. Manic depressive disorder, and don't want to aggravate my condition.
I think so. Yes, you should stay out of this, even though DECA is not highly androgenic. Sometimes it causes irritability, and because you have this, you are unstable in your feelings and in your mood. This is what a bipolar disorder means. Then stay out of this and use just a moderate dose of testosterone, and perhaps a little bit of GHT, but certainly DECA will disrupt your neurotransmitters. You know, the DECA also affects dopamine, so be careful with it, and certainly let your psychiatrist know about it.
Yeah.
I don't think your psychiatrist will have a problem with testosterone as long as you're hypergonadal, but DECA, just for the hell of it, might cause trouble.
Yeah, interesting. So, okay, well, this was the end of episode 199, 199 episodes. We're just one episode away
4
from
years.
4 years, 200. That's a lot.
Never stop, Ron. We never stop a week. When we had to film for the States, we did it. We have plenty of material for the people.
Yeah.
We never had a break.
Well, that's you. That's to your credit, because a lot of guys would have said, I'm on vacation, I'm doing this. Well, let's skip a week. You always made sure we recorded ahead of time or whatever we needed to do, so the viewers never lost an episode in 4 years.
Even though we had about 15 guests, those 185, let's say, episodes have answered perhaps 2,000 questions for free.
Sure. I mean, it's a tremendous resource.
Well, people sometimes get spoiled, you know, but in the long term, I believe they show this admiration, and they acknowledge the offer that I'm doing to people. Of course, MD is promoting my books.
Yeah. And
this is quite a milestone. When we had the first 100, we had Steve Blackman, and Steve wished me another 100. And I said, wow, that's a lot. Here we are now. I don't know if Steve will be with us, but we have another guest if Steve will not be with us. But no, I'm something really proud of that. Something started right after the Arnold of 2019, when you returned back.
Yeah.
And people now in the States, when I was in the Olympia, I was twice in the States within a year. And they know me already, you know, and I feel proud of that because of the MD contribution, of course, both the print and the YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to say to the viewers out there, if you like these videos and you like all this information, share them on your social media so we can get more people watching these, because it's such a rare opportunity to have a medical doctor who is a champion bodybuilder, still in amazing shape and almost 50 years old, walks the walk, talks the talk, and you get to ask him questions every week here, and he answers them for you on YouTube for free.
We had also 3 other doctors, Connor, Spettini, and McLean.
Yeah.
Right. Valuable people.
Yeah.
And VIPs from the bodybuilding industry, you know, Mr. Olympias, Arnold Classic winners.
Yeah. Just those 4 names you mentioned are probably yourself, Thomas, Mr. Spettini, and Rand, probably the top 4 doctors I know of.
They come from bodybuilding and speaking exclusively about the steroid culture.
Yeah, they're pretty much, you guys are probably 4 out of the maybe, I don't know how many more doctors in the world that can do what you do, speak on this from personal experience, the way that you guys do, training and drugs and all that stuff. So tremendous opportunity for the viewers every week. You guys, you've provided for 200 episodes now. My goodness. So thank you, doctor. Thank you so much. So guys, if you like these videos, of course, hit the like button. You can leave comments below. You can leave questions for the next episode below in the comments. Of course, share the videos, hit that notification bell so you know when we have new ones out. And join us next time here for episode 200 of Ask Dr. Testosterone with Dr. George Soulianos. Thanks for watching this one, 199, and we'll see you for number 200 next week. Good time. Hey, did you like that video? Smash that like button, subscribe to MD, and please comment down below. Thanks for watching.